Hiroki gasped for air as he struggled against the icy grip of the water, his arms flailing desperately to keep him afloat. The river, once a serene sanctuary, had become a battleground, threatening to pull him under with every passing second. His mind raced with confusion and fear. How had he ended up here, on the brink of drowning in the very waters he had played in since he was an infant? The village of Mizohashi had always been a tranquil place, nestled between the rolling hills and the meandering river that provided for its people. But in recent months, an unsettling change had swept over the community. Fishermen, the heart of the village's livelihood, began to vanish without a trace. Their boats found empty and adrift in the river's calm waters. With each disappearance, a ripple of fear spread among the villagers. The river, once full of fish, seemed to have fallen under a mysterious curse. The catches grew smaller, and soon a food shortage began to loom over the village. In hushed conversations, the adults spoke of the old legends, tales of a creature that dwelled in the river's depths. They whispered of its cunning nature, wondering if the creature from their childhood stories could be more than just a myth. As the situation grew more dire, a sense of desperation settled over the village. The elders called for caution, advising everyone to stay away from the river. But for Hiroki, a young boy with a curious spirit, the warnings only fueled his fascination. He couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the story, a mystery waiting to be unraveled. Without the adults knowing, Hiroki found himself drawn to the river's edge, determined to uncover the truth behind the disappearances. One summer evening, as the sun's golden rays retreated behind the mountains, Hiroki found himself wandering along the riverbank. As he roamed further from the village, he stumbled upon a peculiar sight. A series of odd webbed footprints on the soft mud near the water's edge. Perhaps it was a frog's possible dinner for his family. Intrigued by his discovery, Hiroki felt a surge of excitement. The footprints led away from the river into the dense thicket of the forest. Driven by curiosity, he decided to follow them. The further Hiroki ventured into the forest, the more the light dimmed. A sense of unease began to creep over him, but his determination pushed him forward. Suddenly, a strange gurgling sound echoed through the trees, sending a shiver down Hiroki's spine. It was unlike anything he had ever heard. He paused, listening intently, trying to discern the direction of the sound. It seemed to be coming from a clearing just ahead. As Hiroki ventured deeper into the forest, he stumbled upon a clearing that sent a chill down his spine. There, scattered among the trees, were the remains of the missing fishermen, their bodies half-eaten and left to rot. To Hiroki's horror, he noticed that their organs were gruesomely extracted. He remembered that a creature known as a Kappa was known for its appetite for the shirikodama. The sight was horrifying, and Hiroki felt a surge of anger and sadness. He knew he had to act, but as soon as he turned to leave the clearing, a strange sound stopped him in his tracks. There, in the dim light filtering through the leaves, he saw it. A creature straight out of the legends he had dismissed. It was the Kappa. It was small, no taller than a child, with green scaly skin and a shell resembling that of a turtle. Its most striking feature was the water-filled dish-like depression atop its head, shimmering in the fading light. But instead of the menacing presence Hiroki expected, the creature seemed almost comical, as it let out a series of loud, embarrassing sounds. The Kappa passed gas, each time with a mischievous giggle. It was a bizarre sight, one that momentarily lightened the heavy atmosphere. The creature's eyes, glowing with an eerie luminescence, were fixed on Hiroki, who stood frozen in place. The Kappa, noticing Hiroki's hesitation, let out a series of mocking gurgles. As if amused by his fear, it began to dance around him in a circle, its movements graceful yet unnerving. Hiroki realized that the Kappa was toying with him, using its cunning nature to intimidate and confuse him. Determined not to fall for its tricks, Hiroki tried to keep his focus. But as he reached a clearing, the ground suddenly gave way beneath him, and he found himself sliding down a steep embankment toward the river. The Kappa followed, its sinister grin widening as it watched Hiroki struggle to regain his footing. With a powerful leap, the Kappa descended upon Hiroki, its claws extended and its eyes burning with malice. Hiroki barely managed to roll out of the way, feeling the rush of air as the creature's claws swiped at the space where he had just been. The Kappa's laughter echoed through the air, a clear sign of its enjoyment in the chase. Hiroki's heart raced as he stood at the water's edge. He had nowhere to go. Suddenly, a cold hand gripped his ankle, pulling him with terrifying force into the water. He gasped, water filling his lungs as he was dragged deeper into the river's embrace. Panic set in as he struggled, his arms flailing in an attempt to break free. Just when he thought he could hold his breath no longer, he felt himself being pulled even deeper, down to where the light couldn't reach. In the murky darkness, he came face to face with the Kappa, its eyes glowing with a sinister light. It stared at him with curiosity, as if studying its prey. Hiroki could feel the cold, calculating gaze of the Kappa, sizing him up for its next move. Suddenly, the creature lunged forward, its webbed hands reaching out to grasp Hiroki. Hiroki dodged to the side, avoiding the Kappa's attack. He knew he couldn't outrun the creature in its element, but he also knew he couldn't let himself be paralyzed by fear. With a surge of adrenaline, he fought back, throwing punches and kicks in a desperate attempt to fend off the Kappa. The creature was quick, countering Hiroki's moves with swift, precise strikes of its own. It was clear that the Kappa was not only strong, but also skilled in martial arts. Its movements fluid and deadly, but in a burst of desperation, Hiroki reached out and managed to grab a hold of the Kappa's Sara, the water-filled dish on its head and the source of its power. He could feel the creature's strength decreasing as he tipped the Sara, spilling some of its contents. The Kappa let out a ghastly screech. Seizing the moment, Hiroki broke free from the creature's grasp and kicked towards the surface with all his might. He emerged, gasping for air. It felt like a sweet embrace after the suffocating depths of the water. Exhausted and trembling, Hiroki dragged himself onto the riverbank, collapsing onto the damp earth. But his respite was short-lived. The water's surface rippled ominously, and the Kappa re-emerged, its eyes burning with an intensified fury. Scrambling to his feet, Hiroki searched desperately for a weapon, anything he could use to defend himself. His hand brushed against a sharp, jagged rock, and he grasped it tightly, turning to face the advancing Kappa. The creature attacked again. This time, Hiroki was ready. He thrust the rock forward with all his might, catching the Kappa off guard and striking it in the chest. The Kappa let out a howl of pain, its grip faltering. Seizing the opportunity, Hiroki pushed the Kappa back with all his strength, sending it tumbling into the shallow waters of the river, and the Kappa struggled. The creature thrashed wildly, but Hiroki didn't relent. He knew this was his only chance to escape. With one final desperate effort, Hiroki delivered a powerful kick to the Kappa, knocking the rest of the water from its Sara. The Kappa's eyes dimmed as it lay defeated in the water. Panting heavily, Hiroki staggered back, his heart racing with a mix of fear and triumph. He had faced the dreaded Kappa and survived, but as he looked down at the defeated creature, a chill ran down his spine. The legends were real, and he knew that the world was filled with terrors beyond his wildest imagination. Hiroki vowed to never underestimate the stories of the old again.